and welcome to TRPG, the talk show. This is our February episode. We are so excited to start the show. I have a brain that is working slowly. Darby, why don't you talk about the things that you have going on?
Yes. Hello. I recently appeared in on a Twitch channel called The Adventures Pack in person. It was an in-person D&D show, which was super cool, with my friend Emmy, where we played in the Gauntlet. It's their D&D 5th edition show where go through every monster in the monster multiverse and beat them one by one. So I brought in my centaur monk bladesinger named Nadine D. Stallion. They have a pun counter for every pun that's made while they're live. They add a d6 to a jar, and if they roll punishment, they roll all of that d6 in damage. They rolled 88 d6. You should check out the VOD to see how much damage was dealt to the party. I did about I added about 60 puns by myself. So vibe it.
Wonderful. Speaking of all the monsters, we have our MFA collab coming up. So when we get to 100 subs, we are going to be doing a collaboration with Monster Fuckers Anonymous. We will be splitting that revenue with them because we don't do collaborations for exposure around here. When we get that 100 subs, we will send out a pre-recorded episode of all of the two podcast hosts from MFA, and then as many of our admin as we can get together to talk about, we're calling it the Smash Bash, Crash or Bash. Which monsters you want to fuck, which monsters you want to cuddle, and which monsters you want to fight. And the challenge is to find a monster that Glyza doesn't want to fuck.
That's good.
Do you have anything else going on, Darby?
Besides that, you can catch me every other Wednesday on Neon Lights Roleplay, playing in a game called Stardust Ghosts, where I definitely play not a murderer who's just chill, totally normal, doesn't have any issues whatsoever. Neurotypical gal she is. And you can also catch me on the First Watch YouTube channel, playing in a D&D game. But
awesome.
That's about it.
I have nothing going on. I have just been focusing on producing and getting my head back on straight after having COVID. So that's all I've been up to, is producing shows. I'm super pumped to be producing the Lancer show, and then upcoming in March, our show that is inspired by The Wiz. It is not titled yet, but I'm really excited. And speaking of which, our two guests today are both going to be on that show. So Darby, would you like to introduce our first guest?
Yes. First off, I was totally lost in my page. Am I looking at the right thing?
Do you need me to forward you the thing?
Oh, there it is. It was just very hidden. First off, we have Eli Elliott, professional actual play performer and private GM. Hello, welcome.
Oh, I'm so muted. Oh my God. Hi.
Howdy. Well, the first question we ask everyone, Eli, what is in your cup?
Well, I just have a very simple raspberry lemonade today. Helps my throat a little bit. It's a little bit sore, so.
Nice. I have a can of refreshing water at 2% peach flavor.
I've got a bookworm blend from Friday Afternoon Tea. It's from the My Little Pony collection.
So does it help with your pony throat? Because it might be a little hoarse.
Oh,
I hate that I love you.
That was painful. God.
Yeah, welcome to the channel where Darby makes puns. So happy to have you here.
Anyways, all right. Thank you for telling us what is in your cup. Our second question for you is about Siren Song. It just had its finale. If you had a second season, what do you think it would be about?
Yeah, so Siren Song was our all black Monster of the Week actual play, sponsored by Evil Hat. It was super dramatic, super intense at certain points, and we did a little bit of setup for the season 2 just in case Evil Hat decides to give us more money. If you're listening, Evil Hat, hi. Um, but season 2, if we do it, is actually going to be about trying to solve the problems that the new Vampire King has caused. The new Vampire King, Ballora, basically is the reason that everything in season 1 happened, from one of the characters having their entire family killed, to the reason why the big bad was there, to a lot of the conflict that was happening in the party. And they figured all that out, and they killed the big bad, or put them in space prison. But now they need to go and basically kick the Vampire King's ass. But there's a lot that has to do with that. There's a lot of the person that I have created, Valora, is very smart, very cunning, and does not accept anyone putting power over them. So I personally love her. The players hate her, but it's fine. But yeah,
players hate her. Other audience love her.
Period.
Discover
Yeah,
their secret.
Absolutely. So it's probably going to take place somewhere else besides Newport, Oregon, because it's no longer vacation time. Now they're just full business mode, figuring out stuff, and then also figuring out some things that happened at the end of the season that left a few people a little bit concerned. So
awesome. And what was the inspiration for the naming of Siren Song's episodes?
So because this was an all black production, I really wanted to make sure that that was apparent in every aspect of the show. We had a black artist doing all of the character portraits. We had a black graphic designer, all the players and myself, all black, and our producer was also black. So in the episode titles, because this was a show made for and by black people, and the main concept behind the siren is music, I decided that I was going to take basically music from black artists and use the titles as the episode titles. So we start with the first episode. It's called Summer Renaissance. And we have everything from Quicksand by SZA, Persuasive by Dochi, and ending with Sink or Swim by LMA. It was super interesting. I've never had a naming convention like that before for a show, and it was nice to follow through on. And it caused a lot of concern amongst my players, because they're like, I've heard this song. What are you going to do to us? Why? Yeah, so it was really cool, and it all worked out really well. If you look at, I think it's on my Twitter, I posted the playlist that has all 6 songs that have the episode titles, and it's pretty nice, honestly.
Nice. Music causing trouble? Couldn't be so.
Jesus.
Did you just say treble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the playlist will give us the clef notes of the show.
Oh God. It's
painful.
If I could, I would fire you.
Yeah. But I'm still here. Cool. Oh, I think you deleted it too soon. Hello. Yes. Next question. If you're going to run a show inspired by the Umbrella Academy, what TTRPG would you use?
That's a tough question. Umbrella Academy is definitely one of my most favorite pieces of media that's come out recently, because it's just it's so cool, and it has so many different things. There's only one thing about it that I'm like, ugh. Everything else I'm like, please put it in my veins.
What's the thing that you're like, ugh?
Everything Allison and Luther related is not great. Not amazing. I was screaming during the entire first season. The second season they backed off just a little bit, and then third season they just went for it.
Yeah, I didn't like what they turned her into.
They they did my girl dirty.
Mm-hmm.
They did her so dirty, and I was so upset about it. I was literally screaming about it to my partner the other day. My partner's like on my side, but I'm like, I'm emotional.
I just like I need this to be vocalized. Right?
Yes. But for Umbrella Academy, I think the easy answer that a lot of people would go with would be Mass, because it's superheroes and all of that stuff. But one, Mass is meant for kids, and these are not children, like very objectively so, when we get to like the present day for the show. And then also, and someone's probably going to come for me for saying this, I don't like Mass, so I'm not going to run that. That's just not happening. So what I would do is I would actually probably stick with Monster of the Week for this. I think there's a lot of versatility that you can use in the existing playbooks, like the professional and the spooky and stuff like that, that you can use sort of maybe not just like as written, but like putting a little bit more flavor to them so that they fit sort of the supernatural-ness behind everyone.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Klaus would definitely be the spooky. And
Yes, 100%.
Knives Guy is definitely the professional.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
precisely what I was thinking about for that
Yeah,
one.
that's awesome.
And there's also like the Tome Mystery, like extra playbooks, like the Hex and stuff. It gives you a lot of. Plus, what I love about the best part about Powered by the Apocalypse stuff is that people are just like, here's like another playbook. Just
Yeah,
like,
all the
boom.
time.
Here's like, I made this spicy little playbook. Have fun with it. Like, it's great.
I love it so much. My friend has an entire Google Drive folder dedicated to Monster Hearts playbooks, and it's full to the brim. And I'm like, thank you so much. So much content here.
So many lovable monsters. Yeah. Earlier you were talking about how Siren Song's production through and through from back end to front end is all everyone was Black. And I'd love to, I guess, just talk about what your favorite thing about playing TTRPGs at all Black tables would be, because finding people to play with who share parts of or all of your identity is really powerful. So
yeah, absolutely. There's sort of like two sides to this that I really like to talk about. The first being there is just an innate comfort that comes with playing with people who have the same type of background as you. And there's stuff that I don't have to worry about coming up as much. Which there's still a chance that certain things can come up and certain problems can come up. It's just less likely, especially when I'm like, these are people that share the same identity as me and that I've seen interacting in the space. So I know that they're going to be good for this project that I'm working on. We're going to have good chemistry. I think people from similar backgrounds tend to have a lot easier time finding chemistry than people with different ones. Not that it's impossible, but it just comes a little bit easier. Also, and this wasn't something that we explored with Siren Song as much because I wanted it to be a little bit more. I wanted it to be a little bit more relaxed. I didn't want to get into anything super deep, but there are subjects that we, as an all Black table, can approach that I personally wouldn't be comfortable approaching with a table that wasn't like that. Even a table that is mostly Black and like a couple of other people of color, I would still have some hesitation approaching certain aspects of like racism and colorism and stuff like that. That I know that we as Black people would take the amount of care that we needed to approach it in a healthy manner and in a way that's going to make us feel better, and even if it's a hard story to tell. That's the main thing, and I think that's the same thing that happens with any like people groups. I've played at all queer tables and it's felt much differently than when I was playing with straight people. I'm at the point where I barely play with straight people. But it takes a big burden off of the shoulders of the players and the GM when it comes to just being able to be yourself and be fully yourself and not worry about stepping on other people's toes with just how you are naturally.
Yeah. Uh Speaking of like people finding people you like vibe with and speak with naturally, uh or I guess wanting to. Who are some people you haven't gotten to play with that you'd really love to play with? People maybe that you feel you can hit that clicky click.
Yeah, I Siren Song was a project where I was like, these are 4 people that I've been wanting to play with for a long time. Please come play in my game. You'll get paid for it. And I'm grateful that that happened. There are definitely still other people in the space that I really want to have a chance to play with. Like, of course, the easy answer that everyone is going to say is Abria, and I'm not gonna rock the boat on that one. That's exactly where I'm at as well. Also, Lexi, Black Girl Mage. I love what they've done with Strixhaven and Strixu. When I saw the concept initially, I was obsessed, and I've been obsessed every episode that's come out. And everyone involved in that cast is so awesome, and they just mesh so well together. And I know that they, because I know some of them personally, I know how well they are just like in general at a table. And it would be an honor to play with any of them, all of them. Yes. um, but yeah, those probably are the top of the list. But I'm at the point where I'm like, I've played with a lot of people that I really have wanted to play with, and at this point, it's like it's an understood. If we're mutuals, just tell me that you want to play with me, and we'll do it. Like, just let me know.
The DMs are always open for
Yes,
DM.
absolutely.
Yeah. On the topic of like playing games, what's a TCRPG you'd love to run or play that you haven't gotten to yet?
I really want to play run Vampire the Masquerade. I've played it in a short campaign, and it was a really good time, especially with the GM that we had. I want to run it. The problem is, I suck at keeping up with set lore that books have, and Vampire the Masquerade has a lot of it.
Oh my god, so much lore.
I literally we were playing the short campaign that we were in, and they were like, yeah, vampires can't like naturally eat, and I was like, that's, I don't like that. No. So the problem is if I
swallow.
Yeah, the problem is if I were to run Vampire the Masquerade, I would literally say, all of that's gone. Get rid of all of it. And they're like, but some of this is mechanics. And I'm like, I know, get rid of it.
That's too damn bad. I empathize greatly. There's so much D&D like lore that I just kind of go, nope. Like, only lore I like is about Themberchud. Themberchud, he's like this immensely rotund dragon that thinks he's the king of the dwarves, but that's because the dwarves just tell him that so that he keeps spitting fire to fuel their furnaces, and they feed him so much food. He's just like, all he does is sit there and eat food. He's basically a cat,
but in a dragon form.
Yep, yes. And he thinks that size is equated with age, so he thinks he's an ancient red dragon, but in actuality, he is just an adult red dragon that is just enormous. He's just that's the only lore. That's the only lore I accept. Thumber Chunk is my baby. In fact, I have a huge plushie of him, and he has no neck and just little stubs for feet, and it's great. But I deeply relate with you.
Vampire's so much fun to play, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the mechanics there are really good, and I do like empathize with a lot of the like dark material that comes with it. It's not for everyone, I will say that. It is for me though, because I am obsessed with vampires. So yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the thing I like about it is like the things that you're good at, like you're really good at them, and that is really fun to play especially in a balanced party. But yeah, and with the right GM, because like I've only played having It's the Riddler run for me, and then but yeah, so like I haven't played it with, I've played with D'Angelo as well, and so like I only want to play with people who are flexible about those lore things, especially when you think of like the history of Vampire the Masquerade, like you kind of need to be okay with
Kitchen of the East.
yeah, like you gotta be okay with not keeping all that lore.
Yep.
Yeah, I think especially as a person who like any game that I play, I'm a smooch someone. It's gonna happen. It's guaranteed with consent, of course.
Mhm.
But there's not a lot, but there's some lore around sex when it comes to Vampire the Masquerade that I'm just like, that's interesting. I'm not gonna follow that. I don't care.
Yep.
I'm a romantic person and I'm a sexual person when it comes to characters, so we're gonna do it. Sorry. Sorry to whoever wrote Vampire the Masquerade. If you want someone to rewrite it for you, I got you.
Yeah.
Let me know.
One of the things I always say when I start a new game that I'm playing in is, all right, who's romancing my character? Because I refuse to play in a game where my character isn't romanced.
Big galactic mood, although every character of mine is canonically ace except for one who is like sapphic and does the badoinka doinka a lot. She does
Badoinka doinka.
What a way to put it. Yes.
She does the sideways tango and enjoys it frequently, unlike me. But, you know, good for her. She's popping off. But yeah. My last question for you before we do our pluggerinos is, as a professional GM, what are some of your favorite games to run for strangers?
So I have been running a long-term Monster of the Week game with some people. Monster of the Week is sort of the one game that I turn to whenever I'm like, I want to run something that's going to be cool, that's going to like really keep me interested and keep players interested. And I'm also not going to like try to hound them about mechanics all the time because I have started running D&D again a little bit. I've told people before, you cannot pay me to run D&D. There are too many mechanics. There's too many things going on. I'm too expensive for them. I'm like, I would rather just do the like 20 per person for Monster of the Week and call it a day. Because I get to have so much fun with Monster of the Week. I get to have so much like creative like freedom between like what the players want to play and what type of stories we want to tell together. I literally had a player in a Monster of the Week game. My friend Dav was like, okay, so I want to like play sort of a monstrous or a spooky. I want to play sort of magic incarnate. And I was like, I got you right now. And I like, I like did a lot of work with them and like flavored the spooky playbook to where they were playing basically a person who had been eaten up by magic, and like magic was sort of like dictating how they were making decisions and whatnot, and they were like fighting against that. And I was like, you can't do that anywhere. Well, you can, but it's going to take a lot of work. And with Monster of the Week, it's so easy to just for my players to just say, hey, this is the type of player I want to play, or like I'm pulling from this piece of media and all this other stuff. And I can just go and look through the playbooks and find something. And if there's nothing there, it's not hard to like just Frankenstein monster your way through it and grab stuff from other playbooks and make something that's good for your players. So that's my bread and butter when it comes to professional GMing. I have enough of a good time to where I can crank out enough stuff for them and everyone enjoys themselves. So
I find that Monster of the Week is also super accessible to most people, even especially new players, because there's so many Monster of the Week shows that they can reference.
Yep.
That I have not met a single person who couldn't think of, like, who even through osmosis didn't know about like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Supernatural or
Law and Order SVU.
Shows. Yeah.
Please.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You're correct.
Mariska would be the professional playbook for sure. Anyway, so I do find it's like super accessible. So when I was a paid GM, that was the game I ran most often, was Monster of the Week.
It's like my go-to recommend for people who are like, I'm like really intimidated by D&D and like Pathfinder, but I still want to like introduce people to something like role-playing game. I'm like, PBTA games are just like bread and butter for like easing people in because it's rules light. Like maybe the most intimidating part might be the role play, but like you won't have to be like, you'll be bogged down with hung up with role play whether you're playing D&D or you're playing Monster of the Week. But this way you don't have to go like, and what are the fucking rules again? Like, yeah, I have to roll up a what? Like, at least Absolutely. This way you got this like smooth playbook and like so many Monsters of the Week, or just like things to reference that are just like, I just want to do this. All right, we can make it work. Like, let's roll with it. Yeah. So that is all the questions I have for you. Is there anything you would like to plug?
So I'll be sort of, as our lovely host said, I'll be on the Wiz show when that premieres. I'm super excited for that. The Wiz is one of my like comfort media from childhood, so I'm super excited for that, what that's going to be. Outside of that, you can find me on Twitter at Reliable Elliot, where I post about anything and everything that I'm doing. Jesus Christ. I don't have any other projects coming up right now, but I am working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, like Siren Song Season 2 and professional GMing stuff, and then also hopefully sometime soon social media management. So if you are interested in any of that stuff or want to hit me up for opportunities, my DMs are always open. And yeah, you can find me there.
Awesome. Darby, go ahead and introduce our next guest.
All right, please now welcome game designer, storyteller, community manager, egoist, and self-proclaimed #1 hater on the internet, CJ McCullough. Hello.
Hello.
Hi everyone. Self-proclaimed hater. That's me.
I
face.
had to throw that in there.
Eli's face when I said, but when egoist got said, that's what I love to see.
So, first question always is, what's in your cup?
Water.
What's on your cup? Because I was trying to figure that out earlier, because I love pink and all things.
So I don't remember where I got this cup. I think I got it from like a food stand truck. It's the U.S. National Youth Championships rowing from 2015. Yeah, someone just gave me this when I like bought a drink at like a stand somewhere, and it was deeply, deeply funny. And I was like, cool, this is my new I like its color. It's got a nice holder to it.
It's a good cup.
It's metal.
Shape of that.
Or like aluminum, probably, but yeah.
It's a nice camper mug.
Yeah, that's also true. Good.
I agree.
Camping with you. So for the audience, because I've heard you talk about this at Big Bad Con, what is radical imagination and why is it so important?
100%. So radical imagination is like, every day I'm like, I need to look more and more into this, because I swear these two people probably aren't the first people to say it, but one of the major books that you can find is like Social Movement Research in the Age of Austerity, by like Max Haven and Alex Coben, someone with a name who it's really hard for me to pronounce. But it's like two people. I learned about this in grad school. That's basically why I like have like experiential knowledge of it, and not like me looking something up on the internet and being like, here you go. And my dearest friend Hamna, _, who also does higher education, like said it to me, and I was like, oh my god, I remember learning that in school, like let's talk about it. And we just like, they've re-inspired a like light in me about what it means, about radical imagination. And basically radical imagination is, for me, the way I explain it to people, is using your imagination to envision a world that like may not exist yet, or a world that can exist in the future. So basically, when you see, honestly, a good example would be like Transplaner, being in a world of like just all transgender people, and like that being the norm, and like not having to worry about, the isms and obias that exist. Or my brain is honestly probably Siren Song as well, just kind of like a world that and Strix U, worlds that focus on these marginalized people and allow them to just exist and do their things without having to be questioned. Because to make a future, you have to imagine it. And when we are imagining it, we are one step closer to making that a reality.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think like, and also it's just nice. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it's
nice
just
to
fucking,
play
it
in
just
those
feels good.
games.
It's like,
It
cool.
just feels nice to consume
Representation's
that media
cool.
and to play those games. Because so often queer folks and folks of color, like we're always dealing with this nonsense. And so when we're talking about playing games, it's usually for escapist reasons. Like I want to get away from having to deal with homophobia and shit like that. So, and ableism. And so it's really nice to play in games. Like I got to play in a game where everyone at the table has ADHD, and that was really nice to just normalize that kind of stuff. So, I think radical imagination is a really great. It's like that. Existence is resistance.
Yes, 100%.
I'm tired of grungy realism where it's like, oh, to be realistic, it has to be dark and gritty and like everything sucks and like the world is horrible. I'm like, I'm tired of that.
It sucks. That
just
sucks.
let me be gay and happy. Give me like happy fantasy.
Let me be
like
sunshine girl. Fuck.
Literally. Do you know what an
Yeah,
unfortunate
hell,
like
Jesus.
fact about me is?
Mm.
My favorite like genre of media is dark fantasy. It is such an unfortunate like reality because it means that everything that I like kind of sucks. Not because it's dark fantasy, but because everyone does it like mean and wrong, and they're all like, "Ooh, let's just traumatize each other for several hours." And did you think this was gonna be happy? And I'm like, "Look, Bessies, we have enough darkness in the real world. Let's have some hope at the end of the light." Tunnel.
You can
tunnel.
have dark fantasy without everyone in your show or your media being an asshole to each other for no reason besides this is gritty realism, I guess. Like
it's lazy writing. It just feels
It is.
lazy because it's easy. It's easy to write people who have no hope and are mean. And I don't want to play. I don't want to be that.
Give me more Frank and oh God, what was his name in Last of Us? Shit.
I
can't
didn't
help
watch
you.
the show because I don't have HBO Max.
Yeah, I just got rid of mine.
I'm gonna wait for our Flag Means Death season 2, and then I will get HBO Max again, and then I'll watch The Last of Us.
You're so valid.
Or you can borrow mine.
Hey.
So true.
Yeah.
That's what I like to see.
So Netflix for going re-enter password sharing. You all are so dumb.
Literally.
So speaking of like world building, because like the thing about you being really into dark fantasy is that if you want to have the stuff that you want to watch out in the world, you have to write it sometimes. So when you're world building, is there a specific kind of music you like to listen to or shows you like to watch? Like what gets you in the mood to build world?
For me, the best, I'm gonna put my leg up myself. There we go. For me, the best world building or God, let me think. What was the last thing that I copied off of? Basically I see something and I'm like, I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna do it but
mine
better.
I'm like, yeah.
God, what's that? I like the longest thing that I've been doing is like a home game, and I at this point, because I've like restarted it like 3 times with like a bunch of different people, I don't remember what I stole from to start that. Which is fine. But the next project I'm doing that I have DM'd all my friends about that I have to fucking get the work to do is God, to anyone that's watching me on Twitter, I watch a show called Blue Lock. It's an anime and it's the most like, it's not cursed, but it is the most like unhinged thing. It's about youths playing soccer and they're all very mean to each other and I love them for it. But it's empowering. And also Total Drama Island. So my next goal, my next project is to, and I'm telling people this so that everyone looks at me and says, did you do it yet? Is to start a project based around like the combination of like reality TV, Total Drama Island, and Blue Lock.
Wow. Okay.
I copy off things. I see something I like and I say I'm gonna do that. This is
And now this is mine.
now this is mine.
So
I'm
a
gonna
lot of the
make
time
this.
when I'm creating projects or like trying to get people to do projects, because I don't like GMing on stream. I've done it rarely. Um, is that I see something that I don't like, where I'm
Yes.
like, it was a good idea, but I don't like how you did it. So I'm going to
Mhm.
go and make it like what I would say is the correct
Correct
way.
way.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because like you, I am also a hater.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, good. I thought you were gonna.
no,
Sorry.
there's a pairing that I like from Apex Legends, even though I've never played the fucking game a single day in my
Listen.
life. But Bloodhound and Fuse, a great
Okay.
pairing. However, everyone's fucking wrong in
Everyone's
thinking that
wrong.
everyone thinks that Bloodhound is going to be a bottom. You're
Yep, there it
absolutely
is.
wrong. Bloodhound is topping Fuse, and everyone on fanfiction.net and AO3 is absolutely wrong. And it's the
Cool.
only reason where I'm like rage scrolling through
I
all of
love this
like,
for you.
like you're wrong. I will write this if I have to, but I don't know how to write sex scenes. So like y'all need to get better because then I have to write them.
Okay, you write the rest of it and then talk to me, and I'll write that part for you.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Like, here's all the lead up. Could you fix this for me?
How do they do the spicy? I
Nikki
don't.
is a
I
slut
don't.
over the age of 35. I know things.
Respect.
Okay, so speaking of slutty things and also Blue Lock.
Yeah.
This is a question on there.
So
You made an application form for potential partners. I did fill it out. I'm still waiting to get called.
I love this.
Being called out on not having
so
answered
funny.
Nikki's application right now.
I looked at all the questions and I don't even know why I missed this one. I love it. Let's go.
So
They're so funny.
So, you made an application for potential partners. If you were to make an application for potential players sharing a table with you, so like casting, because I do a lot of casting, so this is important to me. What would be the most important questions that you would ask about the people that you are going to play with?
Yeah. So for me, the number one things that wow, it sounds wild, that I look for in players, um, is and I just was having a whole big conversation recently, my partner about this, because I had to think real hard over the last number of hours. Um, I love to push the envelope. That is something about me that that if you're gonna come to my table, I love to do. Especially when I'm playing. So it would be easier when it's games like PBTA. I just finished we just finished our first season of the Mythic Initiative over on VO Cologne's channel. And that entire game is just 4 to 5 people saying, how can I cause the most mess? And that's what I love to do. I love to create mess in a way that allows us to create something more than what we would have been able to do by ourselves. So the first question is, how do you respond to the most ridiculous, unhinged, stressful situations ever to be in place on your doorstep? Because I will keep escalating until someone says, "Hey, CJ, hey, bud, hey, we gotta relax." Because I believe it's more than I believe. I just like to do this. This is what I like to do, because often when we kind of get in these situations, it's like, oh, cool. Like I did this one thing through stress, or not even just stress. I did this one thing because I was searching for something, and I needed to I needed to express how desperately I wanted to defeat this villain. And whenever you say that to me, I say, cool. How badly do you want to do this, and how what are we about to do about it? Because that's fun for me. That's really fun. And honestly, the second question is, how much gay tragedy are you trying to do in this situation? Because I'm not saying it has to be tragic, but
it definitely has to be gay.
It has
to be gay. It has to be gay. For me, there's a little bit of a mess that I just enjoy seeing. Even if it's not in the most colloquial term, bullying the relationship, I love just seeing ridiculous complex dynamics playing through games. One of my favorite things I'm seeing right now, in one of my games, one of my players was like, I have a curse, and I was like, we haven't really explored it a lot, and they're like, yeah, I know, that's why I'm talking to you right now. And I said, hey, you just like basically told your best friend that you like loved them recently, and they're like, yeah, I did. How about we make the curse that the closer you get to them, like the more that it hurts? And they're like, you know what?
Oh my god.
And they're like, honestly, if it was anyone else, I'd say no, let's do it. And now we just deal with that.
As a
because I like
person who likes to
continuous-
hurt her own feelings, I love this. As a person who's shared a table with you in which everyone ended up fucking like that's so like I am on board. Please invite me to play with you because I would like to cry and be
we will
gay.
cause so much
I would like
mess
to be gay and be cry.
Be gay and be cry. Be gay and cry.
Yeah.
I too want to be cray and cry.
We can figure something out.
Yes, please, my bro.
Yes. TRPG, I'm coming for you after the whiz.
Yeah.
I'm in that game. So.
Anytime you want to run something or play on my channel, of course, you're always invited.
Yes, please.
So you tweeted that the RPG and consent form. So this is a really important document because if we're gonna play gay and messy and romance and sex, we have to talk about consent forms and lines and veils and all of these things. You tweeted that it could be taken farther. So what are some things that you would add to it, or things that you would change about it?
It is so funny that you asked me about this, my friend. I already made it. LOL. I literally already updated it. Like when I tweeted that, I had already updated it. So I can literally just tell you, because I was on a show that wasn't too great for my mental health. It wasn't even just mental health. It was just deeply frustrating for me as an experience. But they did a form that was like different, and it like awoke something in me that said, oh, cool. You're so right, besties. I'm going to make something very similar. Also, they didn't when they made it, they didn't like do the acknowledgement that you're supposed to have in the thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna acknowledge the correct people, thanks.
Yes, ours acknowledges Kanisha and all the people who made it, and I actually updated ours recently as well to make the romance section separate. Because I don't want to have someone at a table who's like, I don't want to see other people flirting with each other.
Yes.
That's not the right table for me. So if
I agree.
So if I know that that's what's going to happen, then, so yeah, I've updated ours. And so I'm really interested to know what you want to add, or if you could send me yours, that would be amazing.
I will literally just send it to you.
Because we take that very seriously at our channel. So.
Yeah, it's actually very funny because I was also making fun fact about CJ. I also had made something very similar, like just an actual like real person sex form, like similarly for this. But basically, and because these things aren't that different from each other, let me turn myself up. Oh, I see. Yeah, it did quiet me.
I told you, Zoom is rude.
It literally turned me down. It literally turned me down. Hello, hi.
In Black History Month, it turned
during Black History Month.
Exactly. International Women's Day in Black History Month. It's so bullshit. Fucking. It's.
Yeah, it literally turned me down. It said, "Hi, CJ." No. But the fundamental issue for me, and this isn't like an actual issue with a form, it's just something that I've been realizing as I play more, is that red, cool. Green, okay. Green, but between green and yellow, a gray area that is not talked about nearly enough. Because and actually even past green is what I consider like a purple in terms of like enthusiastic. I don't know why I chose that color, but that's the color I've been using.
Purple's great. I love purple.
Purple's great. I love purple. So in the new form that I've made, we have 8 categories. Never, and from red to green, it goes never acceptable, acceptable for others but not myself, acceptable off screen, needs a conversation before acceptable with prior warning, neutral yes, and enthusiastic yes.
I love that. That's so clever.
It's
Mhm.
yes, because it helps with the so many times I answer yellow because it's like, yes, I'd like to talk about it first. Like, I'm so down to clown with the character like dying, like 100%. I just would like to know
Well, I'm
that.
yellow on like
Like,
claustrophobia. You can tell me the room is like that we're in a room that's closing in. Do not describe it further than that because I will have a panic
Yes.
attack. So
Hmm.
like I will yellow that and say like talk to me about it. And like at a healthy table you should be talking about these things, but a lot of times in this space we're playing with strangers sometimes. Like we're playing with
Hmm.
people that we think are cool on the internet and want to play with them, but we've never interacted with them in person or we've never played with them in a home game or things like that. And so I think like that addition to the form not only will help clear up those areas, but it also would trigger someone else to go and like think more deeply about their
Hmm.
answers.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I love it. And then just from there, I like made certain sections that I think get fully underutilized a lot. So like general ones are like the general stuff that you see when you first open up like the I'll say the old form, like graphic violence. So you see things like graphic description of injuries, torture, choking, various different types of weapons violence, cannibalism, intimate partner violence, even though that does get covered later on. The next one is socio-political factors, because I think it's deeply important for us to name what these things are generally. Racism, sexism, homophobia, misogyny, classism, colonialism, terrorism, all of the isms and obias. And there's like more. I just realized there's like 16, like police brutality, like genocide, cults, religious trauma, eugenics, all of that stuff. Horrors and phobias, which I do want people probably should keep adding. And then you just get a bunch of horrors and phobias that I'm not going to name because those are common horrors and phobias. Um, and there's my favorite section that I think like just doesn't that I feel like we don't necessarily talk about because of the way that the current form exists. Interference of player agency, which is a whole entire category of itself.
It's
Possession.
so important.
Hmm. No, I agree.
Like there are very few GMs that I'm like, sure, fuck with my character.
Yes. And even as a GM, doing this section I had to think, as a facilitator, I had to think what actually constitutes these things, and how can the form exist in a way that allows other people to be like, oh shit, memory modification, a lasting injury, coercion, dream sequences, and possession all should fall under interference player agency.
True.
Mhm.
The problem I'm having is that
Mhm.
I want the form to be anonymous because I think like it
Yes.
people are more honest that way. But
Mhm.
then some of these are so specific that makes
Yeah.
it more difficult. And so I guess like I would just like emphasize at the end, like if you put this is okay for others but not me, then you do need to say something in session 0 so
Yes.
that way we know that's you. But I've had like a relationship like Art about like how comfortable are you with the GM's characters flirting with you versus the player characters flirting with you, because that can be
Mm,
different because sometimes you're more
yeah.
comfy with the GM. And then I added that to ours. And then the other thing I always do, and I think that I really hope that this is becoming the norm, because I say it all the time and try to like spread that word around, is that I have our tech producers also fill it out,
Yeah.
because we can't leave, we can't check out, we have to be there. And I learned the hard way that there's a certain name that if you say that name all day long, or like the whole show, I can't watch. And fortunately, I wasn't running tech for that one, so I didn't have to. But I like to watch our shows and be supportive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't watch this one because I cannot listen to that name specifically. And so now I'm always like, hey, this is your guys' game, but please don't name any of your characters this, even if I'm not producing, because I want to be able to watch the show. So
Yeah. Safety is cool and important and makes everyone hotter in my eyes whenever they do it best. That's my opinion, and everyone should share it.
everyone should share that opinion. I think it's a very good opinion to have.
Thank you. I love safety.
Yeah. So moving towards something completely different. So we've talked a lot about safety. What are some stories that you'd like to tell through an actual play, either as a player or as a GM, that you haven't gotten to tell? So besides the one you were just talking about a little bit ago with Blue Lock and the other thing I forgot you said already because I
It's
have
okay.
ADHD
It's
and
okay.
I'm
That's
Total
still
fine.
getting
Drama
over having
Island, right?
COVID.
It is Total Drama Island.
That's what it was. Yeah. So besides that, what are some stories that you'd like to tell?
Uh, that's a really interesting question. What haven't I done? I think I want to do. I mean, I like to think in bounds of systems sometimes when it comes to TRPGs. Um, what have I done? I mean, I post a lot of ideas to my friends and on the internet in general, which is so deeply funny to me. So one of my most recent goal is to run a game where a polycule gets to live forever because their one partner went and died about it, but they find that out at the end or something, which is like the intersection of gay and sad that I am looking to, that I think I talked about earlier. I want to do a sports game. Shout out to good old the soccer game that I was talking about earlier. I love something about me, something that you're gonna find out about me. I love tournament arcs. I love them. They're so funny. They're so good. They can be a little much, which is why you have to have small teams. But like, I love just a big old game of like challenge, reward, or loss. It's so funny. And then it's like, especially if like if you lose, you don't exit the thing. Then it's like, what are we about to do here? This feels worse. Um, I love magic. I love divinity. For some reason, I'm starting to think my love for divinity alludes to religious trauma, yet I don't have any. I know it sounds like I do. I swear I went to church as a youth and then stopped because they were like, CJ, you keep falling asleep here. Um, and I'm like, damn, I did not accept, my brain didn't soak up any of that good trauma. And yet here I am, like loving angels and whatnot. Um, I love Black stories. I love them. They're great. I love vibing with people that have similar experiences to me. I love playing with people of color, and I love playing with gay people, and I love playing with people that are all three of those things. Um, or
I'm
two.
slowly going through my friends and being like getting everyone I know to play either a sibling or a lover. So
Yes.
you're either going to be a close relative or my lover. I'm making
Mhm.
everyone play that with me
Every.
because it's so much fun. I love shared and collaborative
Mhm.
like backstories. They make me really happy. Um, and I have some stuff I have a thing I want to talk to you about after we're done here.
Yeah.
That I think you might be into. Um,
Mhm.
so okay, so that was our last question before we talk
Yeah.
about plugs. So what do you have? What do you have going on that you want people to tune in for or buy or all of these things?
As you have stated, I am in the Wiz game next month. I think that's the first thing I'm doing this year.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't do a lot. There was a moment where I realized I don't like being GM'd by certain people. And I have not played in many games since I've made that mental note. Um, which is fine. I can do things on my own.
But
I
there's also
have
so
like a
many GMless games.
there that
Mm.
as well. I Yes, I agree. I don't know. Right now I'm just trying to find inspiration for myself. And that is purely it's happening slowly but surely. I have a job right now and that makes me tired, which is fine. And
What
I
a
like
mood.
literally but I'm gonna be on the job hunt soon. Not because I'm quitting my job because it's a contract and not so nobody feel bad for me. It's fine. Uh I make games. I don't remember what the question was. I'm gonna be really
Plugs,
I
Plugs.
plugs. You're
plugs. Oh, it
you're
was
you're doing it.
plugs.
You're doing the thing.
Great. Um yeah. This channel. It's on this channel. The Wiz game is on this channel. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the chat. Um yeah, I make games. If you want games that basically make you think a little bit, not because I like schoolwork or anything, but because I just imagination, baby. Buy my games. And if you ever want to hear me, listen to my podcast with Stray Nerd Boy so that we feel inspired to keep making episodes. Please, I'm begging you. If like more than 3 people tell me that they like the show, I will keep making episodes. That's it. I just need a little bit of inspiration.
What's
Please,
the podcast
please.
called?
Like the show.
It is called Blurred of
Mouth.
Mouth podcast. Our most recent thing that honestly will probably happen again is we had an actual play called Woeful Revelry. I should have chosen an easier name, in which it's like 3 black characters fucking around in a carnival. It's not deeply upsetting, but like it is deeply upsetting in a way that it's like, oh, this is enjoyable. Even if you don't like clowns, that's good, because I don't really like them either, and there's no clowns in there, so you don't have to worry just because it's in a circus. If you like morally gray, if you like the worst people ever saving a city, it's 3 episodes, go watch it.
That's awesome. All right, so we are going to bring Darby back on. All right, Darby, tell us your plugs again.
Oh, gee, willikers. Stardust Ghost. You can catch me every other Wednesday on Neon Lights Roleplay. I brain no worky good. First Watch is a YouTube channel where I play in a D&D 5th edition game, and you can catch me there sometimes when the episodes get uploaded. You can also find the VOD for Adventures Pack the Gauntlet on the Adventures Pack Twitch channel. It's super cool. It was a lot of fun. We did a lot of damage. It was pretty neat. And besides that, you can find me as Chaotic Darby on the interwebs. I do stuff and things, including designing a game, maybe. So you should yell at me about that, because I really need to fucking work on those.
All right. I'm Nikki. I'm the producer here, and I have ideas in the works. For example, inspired by Dungeon Boyfriend, but not creepy, I am going to be running a Thirsty Sword Lesbians campaign where everyone is a weapon personified. And that was mostly because I want to watch Vin Vox be fucking chaotic. And so, yeah, so they've been invited. March 3rd is our Belly of the Cat God finale. And so that is our Morkborg mini-series. And so that ends on March 3rd. Unfortunately, the weather was a problem, so that hasn't ended yet. So you have one more chance to see that finale. The premiere of Solstice, which is our Lancer campaign, starts on March 4th. Darby is in that. I'm pretty sure she forgot it for a moment. Our Wiz Inspired show starts on March 19th. And then the last thing we have going on is our Monster Fuckers Anonymous collaboration. So we are, once we hit 100 subs, we are going to release a pre-recorded episode of us playing Smash, Crash, or Bash using something other than the Monster Manual, because I'm trying to move away from D&D. But it will be Smash is like we want to fuck them, Crash is you want to cuddle, and Bash is you want to fight them instead. The challenge is to find a monster that Glyza doesn't want to smash. So definitely, if you have the ability, subscribe to the channel so that we can hit those 100 subs. Otherwise, we will see you on the internet.